In today's video, you will be learning some tips in acrylic painting that will help you shorten the learning curve. I am gonna share with you tried and tested tips and tricks for better acrylic painting. Thus, this will help you understand the struggle when starting out painting and to let you feel comfortable on canvas. Number 1. There is a learning curve. What is a learning curve? The learning curve is a visual representation of how long it takes to acquire new skills or knowledge. Just like with anything we learn how to do, playing the guitar, training for any competitive games, learning a new job skills, and etc. There is always a learning curve. Based on my experience in painting, you know, I just started painting when I started teaching in public school. Though I already had a simple background way back in my high school years and college years, but still it wasn't enough. Just continue to do painting, not in a day or once in a month. There you can see the difference, an improvement. It's just a matter of exercise, and you will get better with each painting you do. And of course, eventually, I am right now still learning from it as the days pass by. Number 2. Look for a best reference. Looking into your best reference in painting, there's so much you can find in the internet nowadays. As a beginner in acrylic, it would be better if you will apply a copying a master technique where you will find a photo, a subject of your painting, and use it as your reference. This can be a great way to practice your painting skills. Thus, you will hone your painting skills easily. Number 3. You don't have to invest in really expensive paints at first. When you are a beginner, it is best to use common and cheap paints or those acrylic in a can like Boysen Brand, Triton, that can be bought in hardware. You don't have to buy the expensive paints if you are just starting out. Always remember, cheap craft paints pack a nice sponge on the canvas too. You will be practicing a lot and going through a lot of paints, so it's fine starting with cheap paints. However, once you've gathered enough experience and feel confident about moving on to the next level, professional grade paints are a must. Number 4. Paint and create often. It is an ideal to constantly paint often so you can see the progress of your painting skills. Understandably, painting at least once a week or twice a month can be a challenging because of our busy schedules. But nevertheless, always encourage yourself to make it or getting into the habit of creating often so that in that way you are training your brain to think creatively all the time. And always bear in mind that constant correct practice makes perfect. Number 5. Choosing the right brush shape and size is critical. Use a large flat brush for large areas and a small brush for small areas. Switch to a small round liner when you need to outline something. Use a small plait when you need to cut in and on smaller object. Knowing what brush to use makes all the difference in the world to how your painting strokes will look like. Again, use a thin brush with long bristle for small details, or also known as a liner brush. It will enable you to emphasize the edges of things. You can also add details with a small flat brush. In addition to, use different techniques and paint over mistakes when the piece is dry. Acrylic paint is so versatile because it can be painted over as soon as it dries, and it adapts well to the different techniques. You can even paint with your finger to blend and mix colors smoothly. Experiment and play with the paint. Mix new shades. Use non-traditional tools. Use unpredictable surfaces. These are the things that will make your painting look more diverse and will help you develop your unique style. Now, if you have made a mistakes, don't worry. You won't have to wait long for the paint to dry to easily paint over any strange mark or unwanted colors. Number 6. Always store your brushes with the bristle facing up. Brushes are important investments in your painting practice. If you want them to last, you'll need to make sure you clean them well after each use to keep them from becoming dry, rigid, and useless. Storing your brushes in a proper way is very important to keep them in a great shape and bristle won't get bent, thus storing them with the bristle facing up. Then, make sure your bristles are dry before storing them so the water doesn't seep down and wrap the handles. You can use paper towel or rug to dry your brushes, but make sure that when you dry them using rug, you will just press not to squish them because they might break. Number 7. Use a double bath system for cleaning your brushes. A dirty brush is always an undesirable thing to have, irrespective of the medium you're using to paint. They can significantly dwell out the naturally vibrant pigment that acrylic colors possess, and thus lower the quality of your artwork. When it comes to acrylic painting, water is the natural solvent, so for beginners, employing a double bath system is highly recommended when painting. Now, what is double bath system? Well, making use of two instead of one jar to clean up your brushes while painting is what we call the double bath system. It can go a long way in improving the quality of your art but producing more vibrant mixtures. Use the first jar for an initial dip. Rinse off the brushes you're working with. Make sure you clear off most of the paints from the brushes while rinsing within the first jar. Use the second jar for a final rinse to clean off any trapped paint that may stick to the brush. That's why I also recommend to make a habit of cleaning your brushes more often during your painting sessions, because this will make it less likely for the acrylic residue to dry around the base of the bristle, thus elongating the life of your brushes. Number 8. Blending is a learned skill and will come with the practice. Blending is like the magic holy grail technique that every beginner painter wants to learn right away. And I don't blame you. It makes the painting pretty. The truth is, it's tricky at first and it's a learned skill. That is why, in the previous videos I have introduced to you color mixing. And definitely it will take much time. But it's okay. Just do experimentations on it. And always remember, the best way to become great at blending is by practicing that technique. Don't give it up. It doesn't happen at first, second, or third, and so on. But you will eventually find your own blending groove. Once again, these are the tips in acrylic painting. Now you have some tips and tricks to take you from beginner to artist to experienced painter. The more you paint, the more you'll learn and the better you'll get. Hoping that this video will help you boost your confidence and to keep you going. Happy painting!